So today we're going to take a look at an everyday carry flashlight that's made by Wuben. This is the X4, and I've worked with Wuben several times over the years on several different models, and to date I think this is probably my favorite Wuben light that they set out for me to try out and test. So let's go dive into the features on this light, and we'll see if you guys think the same, and you can make a decision as whether this light might be right for you or not. So when you first get this thing out of the box, this is the box it comes in. All of Wuben's lights come very nicely packaged. When you get all the contents out of the package, you're going to have your light here itself, a little manual, you're going to get a USB cord. It's going to be USB-A to USB-C, and then you do get one of these little lanyards that you can tie to your light as well. Now, going over the features on the light, I've been using this thing for the last couple days to kind of get a feel for it on a few different situations on the farm, just to kind of get a feel for how the features work. And so far I think this is a pretty solid light. First thing I kind of want you guys to notice is the construction on this light and how this thing's laid out. So first off, you'll notice it's kind of got like a rectangle design to it. A lot of the lights I've seen from different brands are kind of switching over to this profile. I think this design is actually starting to kind of grow on me a little bit, but you can see here it's got a light here on the side, you've got your main light here on the front, and then you've got some controls on this side here, as well as a button on the end here. So when it comes to operating this light, there's a few different ways you can operate this. So it's got a slider switch here on the side. That's how you're gonna operate all your modes. Right now I've got it in the lock position, so no matter which button I hit, the light will not turn on. Now when I flip it over one position there, you'll notice that's gonna put it on the side flashlight. So if I hit the power button here on the top, you'll notice I've got this RGB light. Now it's also got this little rotary dial right here, and if I rotate that around, you can see where it changes all the different colors. If I double click that, it'll start flashing the light for you, and then you can cycle through and hold this button down. You'll notice it switches over to the flashlight right here on this side. So this is like a 100 lumen flashlight on the side, and I rotate that over. It flashes once, letting you know that it's at the top brightness. And that, like I said, it goes up to about 100 lumens, and then you can cycle it all the way down. Now that's got a memory as well, so it remembers the brightness it was at last time. That's the side flashlight and the RGB lighting. And then if I go over one more click, that's gonna put me over to the main flashlight here. So if I hit the button there, you'll see it remembers the last brightness setting I had it on. If I go all the way up, it flashes once, letting you know it's at the 1500 lumen brightness. That 1500 lumens will last you about 3 hours on one full charge on your battery. And if I turn that off, back on again, it remembers the brightness level. And that's that light there. Now, there's something I didn't mention a second ago, this tail switch here. If I hit that, I can flash that turbo light on and off. It does not stay on, and that actually does that in the side flashlight setting as well. So if I switch that over, it's straight to turbo mode. If I double click the end switch, it does stay on and goes into strobe mode until I turn it off again. And then the last setting here, if I slide the slider all the way over to the end, is a Moonlight load, and that does stay on like you see here. And it just gives you enough brightness to kind of see what's in front of you. It doesn't flood the area with light, but it is kind of a nice feature to have. And then I can also turn that on, and it stays on with the end switch as well. So about 3 hours of runtime on the max brightness that you're gonna get. They advertise this as being like 720 hours max, I think, when it comes to like the Moonlight mode. It really does have quite a bit of battery life on that lowest light setting. Now the battery here is a replaceable battery. So on the tail switch here, you've got a lock button. We can flip that over, push the button, that's gonna open your cap. You're gonna have one of these little 18650 batteries. So if you had a couple of these lying around that were charged, instead of your light dying, you have to wait on it to charge over and over again. You can just simply swap your battery and you're back running again. So pretty neat. I kind of like the idea of having those replaceable batteries. To me, it's like when one of those batteries goes bad, I can replace the battery. I still have the flashlight or the device there ready to go. To charge this up, you've got a USB-C. Now it's going to be covered up when you got it in the lock position, but if you slide that up like so, that's what exposes that for you. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to get this to charge back up once you've depleted the battery. Not too terrible. Now something else that's really cool about this, it does have a belt clip on it. It's a heavy duty belt clip, and as I mentioned, I've been kind of carrying this around with me the last couple days, and just to get a feel for whether I can actually feel it in my pocket or not. That's a lot like a lot of the other flashlights that I carry, to be honest, but I do kind of like the flat side here. I think it sits in my pocket just a little bit better. This light weighs in around 5 ounces as well, so it's a little bit heavier than some of the flashlights that are on the market, but it's also not too heavy to where it kind of weighs anything down. In fact, I could still stick this on the bill of my hat, which I often do when I'm out and about, and use this thing as a headlamp, and it doesn't feel like it's weighing my hat down too awful. So that's a pretty good deal. And then it's also an IP68 light as well, so if you're out in the rain, you don't have to worry about this thing malfunctioning on you. It is rated to be out in the weather, so dirt, dust, debris, water droplets, anything like that, this light's gonna be okay working in those kinds of environments. Which for me, being at work and being out here on the farm, that's something that's really kind of a must for me. So honestly, this is a pretty cool little light made by Wuben. This is the X4, like I mentioned. Really impressed with this little light so far. It's got a lot of features packed into it, and it's extremely bright for the footprint that it takes up. Other than that, I think that's all I've got for you in this little video, guys. If you think the little Wuben X4 might be the right fit for you, go ahead and pick one up for yourself. This comes in a couple different colors. You can pick it up in black, silver, and white. So take a look at that as well. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you guys on the next video.